one way to create this space is to like do some touching with your rear hand. If you do it with your forward hand, you're going to create an opening for him or her, whoever you're going up against. So, you know, you can do some touching, you can be annoying, you can touch their head, you can come in, you can do some snap downs. And the reason why you do a snap down, because when you snap down and you let go, guess what? There you are. Change your angle, keep your head high or else you're going to get guillotined. Create the angle. And when you find your passion, it ignites you as a person. You just feel awesome. Hey, what is going on? Today we're going to talk about takedowns. If you are a beginner, if you're new to Jiu-Jitsu, this video is definitely for you. Now, first of all, right, if I didn't show you this, I would probably be like the biggest jerk doing Jiu-Jitsu on YouTube, which, all right. So what I'm about to show you is super important. I remember I have a couple of stories about this technique. Okay, so my friend Laura, when I was a white belt years ago, we were doing takedowns and she got thrown. It was a hip throw and she landed right on her palm and hurt her wrist. She was injured for months. One of my jiu-jitsu coaches, he was trying to do a takedown, ended up breaking his instructor's knee. Probably wasn't his favorite student after that. Another one of my instructors told me that he was about to roll with somebody and asked them to stand up. And because they didn't know this technique, they ended up injuring their arm. So if you want to know takedowns and practice takedowns, you need to know how to breakfall, because if you're just doing one rep and getting injured and being out for 3 weeks, you're not going to get better very quickly. You know what I'm saying? All right. So a breakfall basically is a way for you to fall and disperse your energy. If I had, 50 pounds of force in one small area, that's going to localize the force and it's going to cause something to get injured. I mean, that's why you see those people that can lay on a bed of nails, because their weight is dispersed. If they were like on their toe on the bed of nails, just standing on one tippy toe, then it would be a different story. So in order to breakfall, if you can move that way, basically what you're doing is a slap out. You want to fall with your butt next to your feet and you want to slap out your arms. Now this same principle goes if you're falling on your back, if you're falling on your side. Anyway, if you see the ground coming, do not post your hand out, slap it. So here's an example. So if I were to, take down what happened to me, that's a breakfall. Or you could do one side, or you could do the other side. So there's a back breakfall, there's a forward breakfall, there's side breakfalls. So practice your breakfalls and make sure you can use your breakfalls before you attempt any practice of takedowns. All right. So when you first start jiu-jitsu, right, you're probably not going to be taught takedowns right off the bat because they are very risky. But because this is YouTube, we're going to show you some stuff. No, just kidding. You know your breakfalls, right? So I'm going to show you one of my favorite takedown techniques, and we're going to go over like the stuff that people don't tell you that makes things work. Because if you're a smaller person and you're doing stuff against bigger people, you need to know the exact little idiosyncrasies of how stuff works in order for it to work for you. So one of my favorite takedowns is a double leg, right? And when you're learning a takedown, one key thing for you to do is ask your instructor, hey, if this fails, what's a good technique that I could do right after it? Or what's a good matching technique? Or what's a good oppositional force technique? And I'll show you what I mean. So when you come in for a takedown, right, especially for a double leg, you need to have a correct setup. And what does that mean? If Gary and I are like about ready to roll and we're doing, our hand thing, if he knows I'm coming for a takedown for a double leg, he's going to defend it. So the top thing that beginners do when they're first trying to figure this out is like their arms are very stiff, and like when I first was going for a double leg, it was so obvious. I would look down at the person's legs and I would go, That's the wrong way to do it. The right way to do it is to look for an opening so you can shoot in and get to his hip. And what does an opening mean? An opening is when there is space right here. So you know, you can create this space, or you could just kind of look for it. One way to create this space is to like do some touching with your rear hand. If you do it with your forward hand, you're going to create an opening for him or her, whoever you're going up against. So, you know, you can do some touching, you can be annoying, you can touch their head, you can come in, you can do some snap downs. And the reason why you do a snap down, because when you snap down and you let go, guess what? There you are. So, you know, I'll typically just wait until there's like a good opening. You know, maybe a snap down, maybe some touches, you know, maybe they're just moving in a certain way that opens this area up. Then you shoot in and you create an angle. This is the number one thing I would get wrong and beginners get wrong, is they think it's just, you know, there is a power double, which is pretty cool, but like a traditional double leg, what you want to do is you want to change your angle, keep your head high, or else you're going to get guillotined. Create the angle and drive that way. So you're changing your angle 90 degrees. Gary isn't going to, like, look where we have a crash pad. Gary isn't falling this way. Gary is falling at a 90-degree angle. So here's a setup, you know, maybe I'm touching him with my rear hand. Maybe we're here, doing some snap downs. I shoot in, I make the angle, and I drive. And then you pull the legs past you. Typically I'll land like this, throw the legs past, and then go in for one of your side controls. So why do we do takedowns? What's the significance of a takedown? Well, first of all, if I saw Gary on the street, you know, and we got into it, I don't know what type of heat Gary's bringing if I don't know him, right? Like, let's say he could be a boxer. Like, I don't want to get hit in the face. I want to limit the amount of strikes, and I want to guarantee a good position. If you can do a takedown, the strikes, if you have a top control position after a takedown, which when you do a takedown, you typically do, that really limits his ability to attack me. So for example, when we did the double leg, you're going to do a takedown, you're going to pass their guard, meaning pass their legs, and that gets you typically in a side control position or a Judo side control. So I can just do things while I'm explaining them. How about that? So first takedown, we come in, shoot in for the double, make the angle, drive, keep the legs, throw the legs past, and then come in for side control or a scarf hold or Judo side control, whichever you prefer. Now for my previous point about doing a double leg, if you're trying to attempt a double leg, there are moves in takedowns that complement each other very well. And it's really important to know them, because then you are more apt to attempt it if you know that there is an answer when you fail, right? And when you practice these things, don't judge yourself based off of if you succeeded or not. Judge yourself based off of how many attempts did you try. Like, what's really important is how many times you tried to do it. That is the number one key for getting good at takedowns. And the thing is, it's like when you're a beginner, it can be hard to get good at takedowns, because typically, you know, when you start rolling, and if you walk into any BJJ class and a roll is about to start, this is what you're going to see, right? And when, in real life, do you ever start fighting from your knees? Like, did somebody get pissed off at you at church? Like, usually when I'm on my knees, Gary's having a good time. Like, fights don't start on your knees. So, so one thing that you can do to think about this is you can do this next takedown from your knees. Yeah, so let's try it.
So starting?
Yep. No, we're starting. So, all right. So let's backtrack 1 second. So for the double leg, one backup move that you can do is an outside trip. I'll do that really quick. So basically, if you're going in, if you're shooting in, and let's say, you know, they're cross-facing you, or they're just like putting up some resistance, what you can do is you can take this back leg, wrap it around, take your left hand, make it high, and drive forward instead of making that left angle. And that will really help your success rate in getting a takedown from a double leg. And there are pairs like this all throughout Jiu-Jitsu, standing and on the ground. So ask your instructor. That way, you know, if I know that there's a backup for the failure, like, and yeah, most often like the second thing will work because you set it up with the first thing, and yeah, you'll be more successful. Now, the second takedown that I'm going to show is called Osoto-Gari. So with Osoto-Gari, I was obsessed with Osoto-Gari when I first started, and it's taken me, like the first time that I landed Osoto-Gari, I was thinking about it, was actually, all right, so let me just do the move and then I'll tell you the story. So basically with Osoto-Gari, what the whole premise is you want to put their weight on one of their legs and walk through at a 45-degree angle and sweep their leg. Basically go like this motion. Right, your head goes down, your leg goes up. So if I were going on the left side, it would be like this. If I were doing this on the right side, this would be the hand. And any grips that you have for a takedown in a gi can be translated to no gi. So basically I'm going to step at a 45-degree angle, step past Gary, make sure this arm is coming with me, push him. This leg goes around and I'm going to bend down as I do this motion. So do it from this angle. So I'll just do it very lightly just because we have hardwood floors. So I'm stepping through, taking this, coming down. It's like I don't want to fall.
Are you actually doing the takedown?
Oh yeah, I was gonna do it.
Yeah, like it's not a good idea.
Yeah, on hardwood.
No,
So
it's just
like that was done super slowly, but you get the idea. So this is the motion right here. So you're here, you're going to step out. If I had Gary like this, I'm just gonna hop to the side to show you the motion, but it would be a motion. You're going to step out. If I had Gary like this, I'm just gonna hop to the side to show you the motion, but it would be a motion like that. Now I remember the first time I got Osoto-Gari, I was thinking about it. It was, I remember I was bouncing and it was like at the end of the night and one of the guys was like, hey, like, let's have a go around. And I was like, all right, like, let's wrestle. So I remember I actually got this move, right? And I was so shocked that I stopped. And at that moment, like I kind of let go of him because I was like, oh my God, this is probably like, I don't know, year one. And I remember he like scrambled and ended up getting me, and I think it was like some type of like Kimura, like obviously he was skilled, like he knew what he was doing. But the lesson here is when you get a takedown, try to hold on to the person. So typically when you do a Judo takedown, you will end up in Kesa Gatame. So this is, if you want to lay down. Right, so let's say I was like this with Gary to begin with. I step through, go down, and we would land like this. This is also called a scarf hold. And there's a lot of things that you can do from here, but the lesson is when you get the takedown, do not stop and take a picture, do not celebrate, follow the takedown to the ground, or else you're going to have to start from square one all over again if they end up scrambling and getting up. So one thing to remember here, especially if you're smaller, is to pull on this arm, because their defense against this type of hold is to try to get their arm back. So if you have a good pull on this arm, and also keep your weight forward over their head. This is because another one of the escapes is that he's going to try to sit up. And there have been lots of times when I initially was learning this type of scarf hold or judo side control, like the whole point is to keep your position. If they escape or if they reverse the position, then that sucks for you. It's like, great takedown is just, out the window. So when you get here, make sure you pull on the arm, you have the head, and also you can use your hand to post out, because they might roll you that way, they might try to get up this way. So this is the position right here. All right, so the next video, we're gonna do some submissions from that position, but like in summary, when you're learning takedowns, oh yeah, I just forgot. We didn't have to use this, but this is a knee pad. I'll give an Amazon link down below, but basically this knee pad saved me when you start practicing takedowns very frequently. Sometimes your knees get bashed up. And especially if you're a beginner and your knees aren't used to it, like you can just sneak these under your gi. And if your knees become bruised, then they're going to always be sore when you're training.
Or you get that burn.
Yeah, oh wow, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, these are very useful. You don't really hear people talking about them in Jiu-Jitsu very often, but I found it very useful, and wrestlers use them because obviously, they're doing double legs a lot. But yeah, so just remember, for takedowns, practice your breakfall, because if you don't know a breakfall, you can't practice takedowns because you don't know how to fall correctly. And if you don't know how to fall correctly, you're gonna get injured and it's not gonna be good for you. So practice your breakfalls first. And also be very mindful of your partner and your partner's knees. Don't try to kick something through that looks like it's gonna hyperextend. Like, try to go slowly at first. And for a double leg is a great way to start. You can do a double-legged outside trip. Osoto-Gari is also classic. And remember, take down, pass the guard, secure your position, and don't celebrate when you get the takedown, or else you're gonna lose the person and it's gonna be like, yay! It's like, a lot of times in Jiu-Jitsu, you're gonna do something awesome followed by something stupid. So just try to stick with awesome. So yeah, I definitely learned that firsthand. And what else? Oh yeah, when you are learning with your instructor, it's always nice to ask, like, hey, if this fails, is there another move that I could do right after, or is there an oppositional reflex move that pairs well with this? And by that I mean, when you're fighting, typically the person's gonna do the opposite of it's a fight. It's a physical disagreement. So if I push him this way, he's gonna try to push through me. Like, that's the essence of it, right? That's why they call Jiu-Jitsu the gentle art, because typically if I'm pushing him on purpose in order to then pull him and use his momentum against him, use his force to do what I want so it's basically like reverse psychology. It's like physical reverse psychology, pretty much. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their